be the fundamentals that you're going to be teaching for this 2020 football season?
Well, I think one of the main things is last year we got beat by Seneca in the second round after going 10-0 up to that point, and we really struggled in our kicking game. That's one area that we've really worked hard to improve on. We missed 2 extra points in that game and ended up getting beat 14-12. So that's one thing. We continue to try to run the ball better. We don't have just huge guys, so we really have to work on our technique and our strength and our quickness, try to be more explosive on that. Got a lot of new faces in some starting roles this year, so we always stress our fundamentals over here. We feel like blocking and tackling is the way to go, and taking care of the football and taking it away from the opposition.
Just taking away from the opposition, it is just better blocking, better tackling, and so you guys are in a pretty stout Big 8 conference, which actually this Big 8 conference that you guys have, Mount Vernon was pretty much the kings of the Big 8 conference. So what do you think will be changed for this season in the Big 8?
Well, I hope on the east side nothing. I mean, we've won it the last 2 years, and so we certainly want to try to do that again. It will be tougher. The thing that I noticed about this is you just can't outcoach guys anymore. And I think everybody is so well prepared and do such a great job with their schemes and stuff, and in the weight room and on the track. So you really got to play good, solid, fundamental football and just eliminate the mistakes. I think Marshfield has got a team that will be pretty formidable this year. We don't play them till week 9, so we got a lot of work to do before then. But on that east side, we still have Reed Spring. They have a new coach. We got Aurora is back. They'll be much improved from last year. Logan Rogersville, Coach Talbert's doing a great job over there, and they're getting better. And so they played us tough a year ago as well. And then Springfield Catholic, new coach Rich Rehagen moves over from Nixa, take over that program. And then Hollister and Coach Rich Atkins does a great job down there. We just had a tough, I think, schedule all the way through last year, and I don't see any reason why it should change this year.
No reasons for it to change this year or any year in the Big 8 with the teams of Reed Spring, Seneca, Nevada, Lamar, Hollister, Logan Rogersville, Marshfield, Reed Spring, and Springfield Catholic, which those actually came from the small COC. And so when you add other teams into the Big 8 conference, and also can't forget about Cassville and Monette. And so when you add those teams that came from the faded away COC small, how big is that? Like, how big does that do for your conference?
It's been, I think, kind of fun. I mean, it's been a real difference. It was tough for us last year. We didn't get to play Lamar for the first time in a gazillion years, and we didn't get to play some of those other teams. And we now have 2 distinct East and West divisions. You mentioned the COC small. We took the 5 remaining schools from the COC small and paired them up with Mount Vernon and Aurora from the original Big 8, and that gives us those 7 on that side. And then you mentioned those other guys on the other side. I mean, it's just a great conference. And each year we play 3 crossover games. This year our crossover games are Cassville, who we open up with. We play East Newton in week 2. And then we play Lamar on October the 2nd. So 3 good tests. You've got, I think, the Class 3 defending state runner-up Cassville Wildcats are coming to town this Friday night. So we'll find out right off the bat just where we are when it comes to the top, the cream of the crop in the conference.
The cream of the crop of the conference when Cassville will come up to Mount Vernon to play the Mountaineers. And so how big of a rivalry is it when you guys play a team like Cassville?
It's become very big. I'd say their number 1 rival is Monette. They play that Berry County battle down there. But we have had such great games with them, these last few years. We beat them in the district championship 2 years ago when they were 12-0, and they had beaten Lamar and ended their 59-game winning streak. And we were able to come out of Cassville with a victory. And I think it's just fueled that rivalry even more. 3 years ago, that'd be right. A few years ago, we actually beat them in the regular season, then we lost to them in the playoffs. So it's been a really even battle back and forth for these two teams when they get together. So we're glad we have them at home, but they're going to be tough no matter what. They return a ton of guys from that state championship team. They lost a bunch of guys, but they have a really strong senior class this year with a lot of guys, and they're just absolutely huge, which we are not. So we'll have to really do a good job of technique and just taking care of the ball.
Technique does come into play when you guys play a team like Cassville, which they were the third place in state last year, which I'm correct that they did lose. If I'm correct,
no, they lost in the championship game. They got second to Odessa up by Kansas City. So, yeah, they made it all the way to the championship game last year.
So, yes, they did make it all the way to the championship game last year, losing to Odessa, which is near Kansas City. And so now what is going to be the main objective that you're going to have for this fall season?
For this fall season, well, we have, like I said, some new faces in there. We graduated a really strong senior class last year, which would be the third one in a row. We've had really good players. I mean, that's why you win when you have good players. And so we're anticipating another great senior class. We have 15 or 16 seniors this year, and we'll have a new quarterback, Mason Bailey. Mason was a second-team all-conference wide receiver and defensive back last year, and so he'll step into that spot that Zach Jones has held the last 2 years. So we're really excited about that. Mason's super smart, a great football player, and we're looking forward to him leading our team offensively. We have Rafe Darter's back at receiver, and he's had a really good career with us already. Sophomore year and junior year, he put up some really big stats. He's had, I think, 17 touchdowns in the last 2 years from that receiver spot. He had 10 last year and 7 as a sophomore. So he's caught almost 100 balls in those 2 years. So we like to get the ball to him. He's 6'3", weighs about 180, 85 pounds, and so he can go up and get those 50-50 balls. We've got some other guys to go with him. Justin Moore plays running back for us, and he did a great job last year as well. He and Braden Martin will both be carrying the ball for us this year. They stepped in the week 3. We beat Marshfield last year in that game, but our starting tailback, Carson Bowman, went down in the second quarter with a knee injury. So those guys got thrown right into the fire last year. Really did a good job. So I'm excited to have them back and on both sides of the ball. They're both really good linebackers as well as running backs. And we return a lot of guys up front. So we're just going to try to run the ball better this year than we did last year and be able to throw it for a higher percentage and just try to take care of it on offense. And defense, I think one of the things we've been noted for the last few years is our defense. Coach Chris Johnston does a great job with it. Coach Kalen Hayes and Coach Caleb Kaysen are our defensive coaches, and they do such a good job preparing our guys that we practice like heck on tackling and getting off blocks and making the right reads. And I think if you can get lined up right, know your assignment, and then you play aggressively, got a good chance to be successful defensively. We've been able to do that the last several years.
You guys have been able to do that for the last several years. It's just take care of the ball on offense and then just bring the hammer down on defense. And now talking about districts, now we don't know where Mount Vernon's going in districts, if they're going east or they're going to be going west. Now, if you were to make a prediction, what district do you think you'll be going into this year?
I think it'll be, I'd be surprised if it's not very similar to what it has been in the past with, a lot of these, like Springfield Catholic from that side over there, Rogersville, those guys, they always go east with Buffalo and a few other teams outside of our conference. I would think we would be back more with the original Big 8 guys. But as you said, Adam, you never know because those districts are set based on the number of football playing schools in the 11-man bracket. So many schools now are having to drop down at the last second to 8-man that kind of skews the whole other 5 classes, 6 classes, I guess. And so we just are really not sure where we're going to be. We're one of the smallest Class 3 schools out there, but I really expect us to be in with Aurora, Monette, Seneca, Cassville, all of those guys that we're usually in there with.
Those schools that you're usually in there with from out west, once again, of Aurora, Cassville, Seneca, Monette. Can't rule out East Newton because you guys do play East Newton in week 2. So what do you know about East Newton when you guys will play them?
Yeah, Coach Kyle Wood is a second-year coach over there. He's got a great coaching background. He's coached at Cassville. He's been the defensive coordinator at Monette. Had a ton of success. When they were the state champions, I think he was the defensive coordinator at Monette. So he took over that team last year, and they had really been struggling. Gosh, they made really big strides in their program last year. He got a new weight room, all new weights and stuff, and just got kids excited about playing football down there again. So he always does a good job. They've always been able to have a good defensive scheme against us and kind of, hold us to not as many points as we would like to have. But we have to go down there. We'll play on the grass. So that's always an adjustment for our guys. I think this year we played 3 games on grass. The rest of them were on artificial turf, either at our place or somebody else's.
That's one thing to adjust to, is playing on actual grass than artificial turf like that they have there at Mount Vernon. I know some of the schools out here do have artificial turf. Some of them still play on regular grass. So what is the difference of playing on a field that has normal grass as opposed to artificial turf that you guys have at Mount Vernon?
That's a good question. I think for us, we see that a lot of times you can control the height of the grass depending on the type of team that you have or your opponent coming in that week. Sometimes if you've got a fast team and you go into a place with grass, they might leave it a little bit higher. Sometimes, if you have a fast team, you'll cut it lower. So there's always that factor. Plus, you just don't have a perfect surface all the time, like you do with turf. And I think that that makes a difference maybe psychologically. One thing we do at Mount Vernon is that if we're going to play East Newton in week 2, then that week before we play them on Friday, we will practice on the grass, our grass practice field here, just to get used to it. So I think gives the guys more confidence that they can go in to someplace else like that and know that they have prepared on that kind of a surface, and it's just second nature to them. It's like any other game.
Just like any other game that they play, either whether it's on artificial turf or natural grass, it's any other game. And so what are going to be the expectations that you're going to be setting for your players each and every game?
Well, I think, for us, we just want them to go out there and do the very best they can do as a player and as a person. And we have certainly high expectations for our program here at Mount Vernon. We've been able to kind of get things going where, we kind of always struggled there, Adam, to kind of just in those early years this time around for me, we kind of hung around in that middle of the pack. You could say we were either the best of the worst teams in the conference, or we were the worst of the best teams. And, it's not where we want to be. And so we want to be up there at the top competing for a conference and a district championship every year. One of our goals is always to have a first-round home game. So to do that, you have to finish in the top 4 in your district to do that. The year that we went all the way to the state championship and finished second, we played those games on the road getting there. And so it was tough to do that. So we always want to have first-round game at home. And then we'll take what we can get from there. But we do expect, I think our guys expect to compete for conference and district championship every year. We won the conference last year, but we fell short of playing in that district championship game last year. So we're going to try to change that this year.
Just try and change it this year is make it all the way to the state, make it to Columbia, which is where the state championship is hosted at a Farrell Field there at the campus of Missouri, University of Missouri, actually Mizzou, up at Columbia. So what will it be for the community of Mount Vernon and for the team as if they were to make it all the way to Columbia for the state championship game?
Well, we've got a lot of work to do before that, but obviously that's our ultimate goal is to get there. I think it would mean just an unbelievable pick-me-up for our whole community, because what a strange, unprecedented year that we have been through. We got out of school in the middle of March, and we start on Wednesday, the 26th, and it's just going to be great to get back to school and get some kind of normalcy. It's been really good being able to practice with the guys, and we actually got them June 1st to be able to start lifting and running, conditioning with them. And so that's been really good for the players, I think, not just physically, not just from a football standpoint, but from a psychological and emotional standpoint, getting a little bit of normalcy back into their lives, being around their friends and stuff. Of course, we are on them all the time to social distance and have to remind them every now and then about keeping their masks up in those situations where it's appropriate. So I think that, just any kind of success that we were to have in football this year is really going to be good for our community. Unfortunately, not everybody's going to get to see us play live, which is the case in most of the state, where fans will be limited coming into the stadium. We will be having our games streamed live on Facebook. And so that at least gives people an opportunity to see and to hear us play this year.
That is something that the fans of Mount Vernon and actually the community of Mount Vernon can hear, is that the games will be streamed live on Facebook for fans to see. So now with COVID-19 going on, the ongoing pandemic, what are you telling your players to do before each and every practice and each and every game?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that we're doing. We are certainly encouraging them to social distance, to wear their masks, and we don't have them all the time, so we have to rely on them and their discipline when they're away from the practice field, the game field, and away from school to be able to do the right thing. And the thing that we've been telling them is that we can only control what we can control. And we can't control what these other schools out there are doing or other kids in other programs, but we just need to do what we're supposed to do, and that gives us the best opportunity to play on this Friday night and each and every Friday night after that. May not happen, but we're trying to do our part. We're trying to get them to be disciplined enough to, stay out of situations where people have gotten themselves in trouble in terms of big crowds and people that you're not normally around, and that you just don't have as much information as you need. So it's going to be interesting once we start school back with the rest of the student population and the mixing there. The school has done a great job here. Mr. Cook, our superintendent, Dr. Ladd, our principal at the high school, they've worked their tails off this last many months to try to prepare for school this year and doing the right thing. So I think they've got a plan that gives us the best chance to be successful in school, which is the number one thing, and then also to be successful in terms of having a football season. So we spray our guys' stuff down with disinfectant after every practice, every game. We'll continue their lockers, all of that stuff. We're really stressing all of the things that you hear in the media, whether it's washing your hands for 20 seconds and just staying 6 feet away when you can, and wearing those masks when you can't. So I feel good about our guys, but you have to have a little luck too, and so far we've been lucky.
So far you have been lucky. So as we're about to let you go, if there are any final words you had to say to the 9 teams you're going to be playing of Cassville, East Newton, Reed Spring, Aurora, Logan, Rogersville, Lamar, Springfield Catholic, Hollister, and Marshfield, what will be your words to all the 9 teams you're going to be playing this season?
Well, my words to them is that, gosh, we look forward to playing each and every one of them. Each one of them, I think in this league that we play in and the schedule that we play, it's so much fun because it is so challenging. And I think that most of the guys would agree with that, is that you'd much rather play these competitive games and, know that you have got to play well to come out on top, as opposed to just overpowering somebody. I don't see anybody on our schedule that fits that bill. So know that you're going to get our best effort when we come to town, or you come here, and we know we're going to get your best effort. And I think that there's so much respect in our conference among the different coaches and the teams and the schools that I think it's one thing that makes the Big 8 special, and why the Big 8 has been so successful in Class 3 these last many years. I don't know exactly, I don't remember the stats, but had somebody in the finals or at least the semifinals almost every single year for a decade and a half. So it's lots of fun. It's a great group of guys, and we're ready to go.
Mount Vernon's ready to go, and that will end today's show for today. We hope you enjoyed our show. We hope you enjoyed us sitting down with the head coach of the Mount Vernon Mountaineers, Coach Tom Cox. If you'd like to stay connected with the Mount Vernon Mountaineers through their social media, be sure to like them on Facebook. Also follow them on Twitter. Their Twitter is at Mount Vernon Football. Once again, it's Mount Vernon Football on Twitter. Also check out misha.org for their schedules. We will announce their first game. The Mount Vernon Mountaineers will host Cassville on Friday at 7 o'clock. That will be a home game once again. Mount Vernon takes on conference rival of Cassville on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Also, check out their website. Their website is at mountvernon.k12.mo.us. If you'd like to stay connected with Ozark Sports Report through our social media, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and check out our website. Our website is ozarksportsreport.wixsite.com/ozarksportsreport. One final time, we want to thank Coach Tom Cox of the Mount Vernon Mountaineers for sitting down with us to talk about what's going to be expected for the 2020 football season for Mount Vernon. And from all of us at Ozark Sports Report, we want to